month. Let's bring in Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He serves on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Does it sound like Kim Jong-un is serious about possibly resuming, or is this a bit of face-saving, do you think?
You know, it's hard to tell. This is not a surprise. This is kind of how North Korea's been doing things from the very beginning. I mean, even from when, Bill Clinton cut the big deal with North Korea, the food for stopping their nuclear program. So it's not really surprising. I don't think this is where we need to necessarily hit the panic button yet. I do think the administration should show what they're doing right now, which is we're going to get tough. We're not joking around on this. I think a resumption of the war games, the military exercises would probably be the right thing, and also continuing to enforce those sanctions. But the thing we have to keep in mind is, remember, the Iran nuclear deal, as bad as that was, but that played out behind closed doors. This is kind of the same principle where you're trying to cut a deal, but it's playing out in the open. So there'll be a lot of ups and downs, and hopefully this is just a down and an overall good finish.
More firm words from the White House. Listen to the Secretary of State talking about his expectations for the Kim regime.
In Hanoi, on multiple occasions, he spoke directly to the president and made a commitment that he would not resume nuclear testing, nor would he resume missile testing. So that's Chairman Kim's word. We have every expectation that he will live up to that commitment.
That's a not-so-veiled threat to the chairman that if he decides to resume testing, there's going to be trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, and Secretary Pompeo's exactly right. When you get to the point where you're going to meet with the President of the United States, you're going to promise him that you're not going to resume testing in exchange for these negotiations. The President was absolutely right to walk away when he did in Vietnam. And we've said from the very beginning, the end state here is that North Korea will not have a nuclear weapons program. That's not a surprise to Kim. That's something we've been very clear about. Now, what do we take to get to that? What's going to be the carrots, if you will, or the sticks? And so I think Secretary Pompeo is right. And if Kim wants to play this game of resuming testing to try to threaten the United States again, I think he's going to see that he might, underpredict our behavior, because he has in the past. In the past, we've been a little weak. I don't think we're going to be this time. So hopefully this is just a blip and maybe a Kim failed negotiation strategy. But I think ultimately North Korea will not have nuclear weapons. Let's just see how we get to that point.
Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson is saying that there are more screws that could be tightened against the Kim regime if they decide to resume testing. Here's what he had to say on Sunday Morning Futures.
What brought Chairman Kim to the negotiating table were these sanctions. We need to ratchet them up. Let's not make the same mistakes we made in Iran, where sanctions brought to the table, but then we relieved those and we didn't actually force Iran into negotiating in good faith. Right now, Chairman Kim is not negotiating in good faith. He has to come to a different conclusion.
It sounds like you and the senator are on the same page when it comes to the possibility of increasing sanctions.
Yeah, we are. If you think about people like Kim Jong-un or, Vladimir Putin for that matter, what they fear the most is losing power. All of this is about maintaining their tight control on their population. Kim, if the sanctions get worse and he continues to feel the economy slipping away and his grip on power slipping away, that's his motivation to come to the table. And so whether it's actually punishing China for sanction violations, whether it's using the Navy for stopping any cargo coming in, illicit cargo, there's a lot that we can do that, we've kept the sanctions in place, but there have been a lot more violations, and we've kind of probably not really enforced as hard as we should because we're in the negotiating. Well, we can get back to enforcing those and make it pretty painful on Kim.
Congressman Adam Kinzinger, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. It's good to have you on. Thank you.
Yep, see ya.